ruin my marriage? I will take you both down. Background: in 2006 I was 25 and married a woman 13 years older than me and became a stepdad to a 15-year-old girl. I always considered myself a level-headed person, kept my cool and went with the flow. That was until my marriage fell apart. Cast me Alma, former wife Marina, stepdaughter Carl, stepdaughter's biological father Karen, BF's ex-wife. So it's the summer of 2009. Alma and I have 3 years in and Marina just graduated high school. Alma tells me that Martina has been asking about her biological father. Alma says that she wants to write to an old address she had for him and see if he would be interested in getting to know his daughter. I was fine with it as I believe that Marina had every right to try and get to know her father. A month goes by and Alma tells me that Carl emailed her and is open to getting to know his daughter. Alma and Carl email back and forth so she can feel him out and he can get a sense on what Marina is like. At this point I don't mind at all because Alma is open about all the emailing and what they write about. Fast forward a few weeks, Marina and Carl are communicating back and forth regularly. Everything looks to be working out. I start to notice Alma on the computer more and more chatting with Carl. I ask her about it and she affirms that she and he developed a friendship over the past few weeks. I don't think much about it as she isn't hiding anything and Carl lives in Mexico City. We lived in Central CA. A few months go by and Alma tells me that Marina wants to meet Carl and he has time off coming, so it's a perfect time to do it. Alma will go with Marina, but I wouldn't be able to go since I couldn't get the time off of work. Alma and Marina go on their trip. They are gone for 2 weeks. Week 1 is spent at Alma's grandparents' home and week 2 would be spent in Cabo where Carl would fly in to give him and Marina time to connect in person. Their vacation came and went and they finally came home. When I picked up the girls I began asking about the trip, but all I would get would be one-word answers from both of them. Marina and Alma looked like they were upset with one another. I figured they got into an argument on the way home. A few hours in a plane can do that to you. A week later and we are back in our routine, but Alma and Marina are still barely talking. I ask what is wrong and she tells me that her and Marina had an argument about Carl. I chalked it up to the meeting not being longer, so I say, well, maybe next vacation Carl can be spent in California and he can bring his son so Marina can meet her brothers. They can even stay with us a few days. Alma really liked that idea. So, and I kid you not, the very next day both are at work and I have the day off. I am working around the house and come across a small stack of papers on the entryway table. I pick them up and see if they are important. It's a printed out email and I see my name in it. I read it and just keep reading through the stack of papers. It was a complete printout of Alma and Carl's email conversations they were having through her work email address. I felt sick. The more I read the sticker I felt. In the emails they had the whole vacation planned out, including the fact that Carl would be staying with her and Marina in the suite I had arranged for them rather than get his own hotel room. The worst was the fact that they were debating how they should tell Marina that they planned on being affectionate with each other during this trip because, as he put it, she should be happy that her parents are finding each other again after 18 years, and how else are you and I going to be able to share a room? Turns out Marina wasn't very happy about the situation and wouldn't let them be alone together. First thing I did was take the emails and have copies made. I wasn't sure on what I was going to do yet, but I knew I should make them. I then drove to Alma's work and tell her I was there to take her to lunch. When we got to a secluded parking lot I confronted her about the emails. She had the nerve to try and turn it on me. How could you go through my private emails like that? She didn't argue, she just claimed that the bond that she and Carl had was strong and that I wasn't the husband that she had hoped I would be. I argued. I cried and I asked her if we could work through it, and all she would say is maybe and that she would think about it. For the next few days I was a mess. I would mope and pout when I was alone and would be Alma's attentive husband when she was home. Then I saw that she and Carl were chatting on the home computer, not even trying to hide it. The revenge. When I realized that this wasn't going to end, I decided that I needed ammunition. I already had the emails from her work, but I wanted more, so I found a computer program that runs in the background. It takes screenshots and is a keystroke logger. I installed it on both our home computers. With the program I had screenshots of their chatting sessions and I had access to Alma's personnel email accounts. I found every last bit of correspondence and printed it out. At first I thought I would take the emails to a lawyer that could use it for my divorce, but then I found out that California was a no-fault state, so it wouldn't matter, so I came up with Plan B. I took everything I had collected and began going through it. I arranged it in chronological order and began writing down every bit of information that it thought I could use. Every break at work I would just read, highlight and write down information. I ended up with 2 notebooks full of random info. Where Carl worked, where his father's home was, phrases Carl would use. Phase 2 was the fun part. I went to a popular search engine that also would provide you with a free email address. I found the link to the Mexican version and created an email address for a fake woman. Let's call her Miss Sandoval. Miss Sandoval emails Alma and tells her that she was Carl's live-in girlfriend until a few weeks prior and that she had been debating whether or not to email and warn her about Carl and his anger. Miss Sandoval wrote about their relationship and things that they would do, like his favorite vacation spots, how she cared for his boys, all the pet names he would call her. Everything written would come from one of the emails or chats they would have. Then Miss Sandoval wrote about how he would become verbally abusive and how it started around the same time that Alma and Carl's relationship changed. Emails went back and forth for a week, and in one email I included pictures of a battered woman I found online. As this interaction is going on, I am still keeping tabs on their conversations and their tones have changed. Alma asks about Miss Sandoval and of course he denies knowing who she is, and of course Alma doesn't believe him. She is furious that he would lie to her and that now she feels like she is the reason for this poor woman's abuse. In the end Alma breaks things off with him and she even shares the email from Miss Sandoval with Marina and convinces her that her father is a terrible person and she shouldn't have any more contact with him. Oh, but that's not all. During my spying I was able to find Carl's ex-wife's Karen's social media and had Miss Sandoval email her a copy of every email I had. Now, I don't know what Mexico's divorce laws are like, but Karen was very grateful for all the info and was sure that it would help her in the divorce that had been going on for 3 years at that point. Now let's not forget about Alma. She didn't go unscathed from this. When her relationship with Carl tanked, she naturally tried to fix things with me, and me so satisfied that I torpedoed their relationship, was more than happy to accept her attention. Don't get me wrong, our marriage was over, I was just leading her to think that we were working things out. On the day that I left, the first eviction notice arrived from the bank. Apparently the ordeal made me forget to pay the mortgage on our house, and her job received an email from me with copies of her and Carl's inappropriate emails made using the company email address and showing it was on company time. It was worth the hit to my credit score just to get her frantic voice messages about her losing the house and her getting demoted at work. Edit update. So, to answer some of the common questions I've gotten. Marina and I still talk and visit on occasion, but she has her own family and I moved away due to work. Marina and her biological father tried to connect again a few years later, but in the end he cut all ties with her because she wouldn't act like a loving and devoted daughter on the first visit. Alma and Marina never found out that I was the one to email her as Miss Sandoval. I need to clarify that I intentionally forgot to pay the home mortgage for a few months. She had no idea since I was the one who set up the online accounts and I picked up all the mail. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, how about you and Marina? Kinda feel bad for her since she seemed like she was on your side and is not caught in the middle. Redditor 2, Marina printed out the emails for you to read, I'd bet. Redditor 3, she definitely deserved it, but did you ever discuss with the daughter? She seemed to have your best interest at heart this whole time. Redditor 4, quickly, change the acronyms to fake names or this gets taken down.